We're going to be mostly in Exodus tonight, starting around chapter 13, but I'm just kind of skim through different parts of Exodus. But last time I spoke, I was talking about the storm or chaos in your life and asked for help for scriptures that you may use that kind of got you through those times, or just suggestions from people of maybe a story or something that went along with it, and it all worked out well. And I had people afterwards come up and start tell me even more that they were too shy to share or whatever. And since Justin's here, I'm not going to pick on him for not saying it out loud last time, but he just walked in. But Amanda, she did tell one that it just stuck with me after she said it, and I was talking about Jesus asleep in the back of the boat and the storm and the chaos there. And she said, the storm was happening, everyone else was in panic. You think the storm would have woke Jesus up, but it didn't, because chaos is constantly happening. The storm's constantly happening. It didn't surprise him, didn't scare him. He was just there until they cried out for help, and then he jumped into action. And I just thought that was a really good statement, and how he works. And tonight I plan on trying to do a lesson on God's provision. And if you have a moment, that you want to share something like that, please don't hesitate. I'm leaving it open for y'all to help fill the time and share your knowledge. This is a subject that's been taught on a lot, and I'm sure throughout the years, that there's probably something that really stuck with you on this, and I would like for y'all to share it if you got it. But, when you meet people in life, you try to find, or you hope you can find someone you can depend on. And the way you find that is through your history with that person and how you interacted with them. If you find out they're dependable, consistent, you can depend on them all the time. And that's what, through this scripture, I want to prove how God has been dependable throughout this. And he has things he asks of us, and that we should follow, but he's always been dependable to provide for us. And anyhow, I want to start here, but I want to stop for a second with today. I don't know, does anybody listen to Exploring Word? Okay, I know you do, because I can tell you do. But they were talking about God's gifts and stuff today, or it may have been yesterday today. But I was just thinking, as I come up here, they're like, you need to try to figure out your spiritual gift and stuff. And I was sitting there thinking that about Brother Steve preaching the other week, as he repeated like I would have repeated the lyrics of a song if I'm looking at it. He sang them out. He's got the gift of talking, preaching, singing, and apparently he's got the gift of burning Donnie too, which is awesome. But all I could come up with for me is poorly timed jokes and sarcasm. So I don't know how that works in the body, but that's what I got. But anyway, I want to start with the Israelites as they leave Egypt. They've been in slavery for like 430 years. And I'm going to start in Exodus 13, 21 through 22. And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of cloud to lead them along the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light, that they might travel by day and by night the pillar of cloud was by day, and the pillar of fire by night, did not depart from them, did not depart before the people. So this is an example of, as they leave there, God is guiding the Israelites, and they come out of slavery after all this time. He guides them. And it's just not like you see, like sometimes children church comes in here and people guide them out. That looks pretty hectic. He is guiding. One thing I read was about the size of the city of Houston, Texas, around. And so as he's around 2.5 million people, and he's guiding them out of slavery into the wilderness. And I just think as you get to the part of getting guided through the wilderness, when if y'all ever been lost, I mean, it's a scary thing, even if it's just for a brief time when you realize, okay, I don't know where I'm at. So I'm going to tell a slightly embarrassing story of myself here, and I'll have plenty of excuses with it too. But anyway, I was deer hunting one time in muzzleload in my backyard, and anyway, it was obviously very windy and whatever else excuses you can come up with. But yes, getting near dark, this deer was quartering to me, and I was twisted back to shoot at it, and it wasn't coming in any faster before dark. So I decide I'm going to take this shot, and I shoot the deer, and I hear it run and crash just out of sight. So I sit there till a ways after dark, and I finally think, well, I'm going to look over and see what kind of blood I got. So I get down, I walk over there, I see a little bit of blood, but it's not like the kind you want to see. So I kind of just follow over to see if I see any better blood, and the deer jumps up. And I was like, oh no. So I shut my flashlight off, and I just started backing up and then thinking, well, I can do this loop without a flashlight to try not to spook this deer anymore and come back around to my yard. Well, I take off with no light. It's dark this time. I waited till it was dark before I went and checked, and I take off, and I'm going along there. I'm thinking I probably need to turn and turn and turn. I start coming up on this house, and it ain't our house. And anyway, I stop, and I'm like, where am I, And so I start backing into the woods. I call Jennifer. I'm like, hey, can you do me a favor? I got lost. And I say, can you go out there and honk the horn to the truck and see? And so she goes, give me a second. I hear the honk, and it's like nowhere near me. It's way off over there. I'm like, how on earth did I get here, And so after a few honks and just me going back, I find my way back to our house. But the anxiety that builds up in that moment of being lost, was, it's a lot for a little bit. But, if we have God leading us through our walk in life, maybe not lost out in the woods, but if we have him leading us in life and we go to him for direction and guide where he's leading us, we may not end up in this spot where we're crying for help or calling, for your wife to honk the horn to get you back to where you need to be. Just so in your spiritual walk, you stay and connect with God through the Word and through prayer, and sometimes you do have to call out to a friend just for help and guidance, or another believer to keep you on track. So now I want to go to Exodus 14, and as God's guiding them out of the wilderness, he's also guiding them to the Red Sea, which causes them to have this appearance that they're lost and going to be trapped up against the Red Sea, which was God's plan. So as they get to the Red Sea, Moses, this is, verse 13, I believe. I may have jumped chapters here, but and Moses said to the people, "Fear not, stand firm and see the salvation of the Lord, which he will work for you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you shall never see again." And verse 14, "The Lord will fight for you, and you have only to be silent." So they get to the sea, and all they have to do is be silent. They were complaining. They thought they were led out here to be slaughtered and killed, and they were just already, give up from coming out of slavery to complaining of the situation they're in. And I think we all know how the rest of the story goes. God splits the water, leads them in there. The Egyptians get stuck in there. The water comes back and kills the Egyptians, and God gets the glory. And God did that so the Israelites, one, would know, I did this, I'm with you, and God receives all the glory for it. And he knew that after all those years of slavery, that the Pharaoh would not give up on trying to get them back into slavery after they realizes, we just lost our whole workforce. But now I head over to Exodus 15. You get to Exodus 15, and now they're all singing praises. They're joyful again. They're like, all happy about it, that God has protected them. He has took out the Israelites. And it says in verse 18, this is chapter 15, verse 18, "The Lord will reign forever and ever." Like right before that, they thought they were trapped. They were wanting to go back to where they was rather than being where they're at that moment, and they thought they were going to be slaughtered, and God got them through that. And now they're praising him, saying he will reign forever. If you go down to verse 20, it said that they broke out the tambourines and dance. And it was at this point I realized they were definitely not Free Will Baptists. So you get down to verse 24, and they're back to grumbling. So, I don't know how many days went in between that part, but it seems they go in a roller coaster. And I think that's how, a lot of times in our own life, that's how we do God too. Like, we may pray for something, and he may, give us that something or help us through that moment, and 10 minutes later, we're fussing and whining about something else. And I won't get it completely right, but a lot of you know who Forrest Frank is. He wrote this song just a few weeks ago about you're in the part of life that you just previously prayed for. That's the story of the song. I'm not getting it. Ryan probably knows the song, but if you want to get up and sing, no. But he's saying, we pray for this, and now once we get in this part of life, then we're like kind of messed up where we're at. Like we start complaining, but it's what we just prayed to get in. I see that a lot in our lives, that for me, I bought the chicken houses, and I had prayed about getting in, is this for me? Is this for me? And Quickly after I got it, I was crying, this ain't for me, you know? And so for the next 3 years, I dealt with that until I was able to sell them, you know? It's just things that we think that we need. He may even provide, but he got us through it, and he got us through it, you know, favorably, and he knows what's best for us as he guides us. And I'll take my. Is anybody got anything at this point? Because I'm really blowing through my notes here.
I've always thought through this study that at night in the desert, going through Egypt, like if everybody's ever experienced dark, and I know like dark in the woods, but the first time I ever experienced it was trying to find somebody at night during the flood when we didn't have any power at all. And I had lived down in Shannon for 28 years at that time. I mean, I've lived down there a long time. Well, I didn't know that I had always used like street lights to know when I was supposed to turn. Well, I was supposed to be down in Shannon, down off Old County Road, and trying to get somebody in a boat. And I had turned like 2 miles before I was supposed to get there. But anyway, so going on, thinking about God putting a pillar of fire for somebody to guide, somebody to guide towards what they were supposed to be walking to. There's millions and millions of people, and they're all following this light or this fire in the sky. And that's a miracle in and of itself. Now they get to a point where everybody thought they were going to die, and they look behind them on top of the mountain, and the Egyptians are coming to get everybody, and now the water parts. So all of these miracles that these people are witnessing, it's like I'm praying, I'm grumbling, I'm scared, but God provided me this whole time, and I don't know that He's about to provide me the light. I don't know that He's about to provide me the splitting of the water. I don't know that He's about to get me across and make sure that I'm okay. But I know that I'm faced with these troubles in front of me, and God's always providing something. And you said verse 22, I think that's kind of where we left off. And in 3 verses later, they're singing and they're praising and they're happy about all these miracles that God has provided them. And it's like they've witnessed this. They've witnessed something crazy that would just make most of us just in awe. But in 3 verses, they're back to saying, I want more. I need something else. My life's not good enough. I know that you've done this for me, but I want more. They're not ever satisfied. And, they go on to him going onto the mountain and, building the statue and the staff and the bull. And they're never happy with the miracles that are in front of them. They're always wanting more. That's just something that always stood out to me about they got to see stuff that we only wish that we could see.
Yeah. Well, I think as you look through that, the provisions God gave them, and each time, and they complained and they failed, and they just continue. And that's what we do in our own life is God will provide for us, but then we turn around and we may complain, or we definitely fail him, but he's consistently still providing, and
And even though they get down on themselves, God still comes back. He never goes away. He lets them suffer. He lets them go through some stuff, but God's always there.
Andrew, I think David is a really good example. The Psalms are a very good example, and it used to kind of bug me that he seemed so inconsistent. Like when I watched the show of David, I was like, what's with this guy?
That's good. See. Now I'll go to chapter 16, verses 2 through 8. And the whole congregation of the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the people of Israel said to them, "Would that we had died by the hands of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the meat pots and ate bread to the full. For you have brought us out into the wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger." And so here they go again. They're complaining about being hungry. And then the Lord said to Moses, "Behold, I am about to rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a daily portion every day, that I may test them, whether they will walk in my law or not." So here the Lord's going to provide food for them after they're complaining about being hungry. He's providing food for them, and he's not just providing food, though. He gives rules with this provision, of what to do. And he's going to provide this bread in the morning. And so as me, they say if you ever meet someone who's ran a marathon, you'll know in a certain amount of time because they're going to tell you. And so here we go. When I was training for a marathon, I learned about carbs and stuff. And as God gave them carbs in the morning, carbs is what helps give you energy to get you through it. Now I'm picturing them, they're going through the wilderness, this many people, moving towards something. They're probably burning a lot of carbs. And so they get this sweet wafer, which is probably a good boost for them in the morning as they go. Well, in the afternoon, he gives them quail, which is protein. And if you know about protein, it's for your recovery, and it also digests slower. So in the afternoon, they start getting the food that will help their body recover and also make them feel fuller at night and stuff to prepare them the next day as God gives them the bread again so they can continue their way towards Canaan land. And I just thought it was interesting that not only, I highly doubt they knew about, carbs back then. I don't know what their dietary plan was, but they didn't have an app, right?
They couldn't log their food back then.
Yeah. And so I just thought it was interesting now as we look at it, what they were eating then, that's what you would want, that's what you need to get through this, is something to rebuild and something to energize you. And that's what the Lord provided for them. And let's see here, I got lost in it. But he also gave the rules, as he told them you had to pick up the manna 6 days, and on the 6th day you had to pick up twice as much, and he wasn't going to have it for the 7th day. So God may provide, but we do have to always follow his provisions. And I think I can't remember what verse it was now. I guess I didn't write it down, but at the end of it, Moses had told them, you have to follow the rules that God has set forward, continue to look for his guidance, and we do these to seek him, and he will continue to provide for us. And then as you look through the stories, as he keeps going, they needed water again. He had to break the rock and water come out. By the end of the chapter where they're singing, they were needing water then. It was sour. A miracle happened with a log. It was sweet. I mean, he just kept providing for them throughout this time. But for us, as you look at it, God has provided the ultimate path of salvation through Jesus Christ. And that's the most important thing is God provided the sacrifice of the Son. He's provided us a pathway to salvation to spend eternity with him. And that's like the most important thing. So for us to worry about the lesser things in life, it's like, why do you worry about how God is going to provide when he's provided the most important thing? He will provide the lesser stuff too. And based historically, with everything you read, he's done all through the Bible. And to look, like I started on, I was going to jump from different books throughout the Bible showing it. But the whole Bible is his provisions and an up and down, all the way from the beginning. He provided water, food, land when he created, and then he created man, and then he created man, a helper for everything. And that's how God started, and that is his personality, and that is how he provides for us for everything. But that is all my notes. And so if anyone has anything else further, we got 20 minutes at least.
Good job.
Steve, I know you have something. Well, I can tell one more thing and a story. Jed was part of this story. And I was thinking about adding that in about, technology nowadays. When you get lost, you have a phone for technology. If someone needs to come find you, you can send them a pinpoint where you're at. So Jed, he was going to come find me where I was working one day. He said, shoot me a pinpoint. So I sent him this pinpoint where I'm at. I'm working, and it's getting close to lunch, so I looked at my phone, and I wanted to see what time I sent that pinpoint in the text and stuff. And I looked in the map, and it said Saudi Arabia. And I was in East Pocahontas. So I was like, oh, wow. Like, you kind of, when you send a pinpoint, you think this is you're going to send them the right direction. So I was like, man, I'm sorry. I'm glad you hadn't left for Saudi Arabia yet, but here's where I'm at. And so I send him another pinpoint he's in Corning. I send him a pinpoint to East Pocahontas where I'm at. And as he's driving down, it tries to make him turn and go to Engelberg. So it still didn't get it right that day. So you can't always trust technology. And then, everybody's all about AI these days. And I've shared this story once before, and I'm not too keen on AI for a lot of things because I went to Walmart and I thought, well, I'm going to use AI so I don't have to look up the part number and use this little thing for air filter for my truck. So I get there and I get to AI and I'm just like, I got a 2018 Chevy 2500 6.6 Duramax. I need a part number for a Fram air filter. And it says everything that I'm going to do and gives me a part number. So I go over there and whew, this is sweet. I grab it, I go home, and I pop the hood, take my truck apart, and pull out this air filter like this, and I empty it at the box, and there's an air filter like this. And I'm like, it came in a box this big, but at that moment on, I did not trust AI at all because I had the most confidence in the world at this part number that it gave me for air filter. So I wouldn't dare trust it with anything important. But that is my story on technologies. But if anybody has anything to the lesson, Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Testing is for three things. When God tests us, his three purposes are number one, to correct us. And number two, to construct us, build us. And then his third purpose is coronation. He wants to crown us, bring us to the place where we're a fit subject for heaven. So all throughout our Christian life, we're going to be tested for those three purposes: correction, construction, and ultimately coronation.
I think as we get the construction, we can also help our fellow brothers and sisters through what we've been through. A lot of times I try my best to learn from other people's mistakes and not, repeat mistakes, but it don't always work that way. But, you have someone who's been through it, and it's good advice to learn from what they've been through and apply it to your own situation.
Andrew, I'm just being led to do this, but I've got about a 15-minute conversation. If Donnie's all right with it, I definitely can fill the time. More of just asking questions and getting up there with you. So I don't know.
If you think I get there with me, I'll just.
I don't. All right, I'm going. All right. That was awkward.
I don't know if it's fine. I don't know if he's got another mic or you just.
No, I don't know.
You're pretty loud.
I probably can talk loud enough. I know that the cameras don't pick me up well enough, but are we good back there, Josh? Hard. So the last two times that I've done a lesson, self-control has been brought up twice by Steve and then Mark over there. And so I've been diving into it. Definitely the last few days I've been going through it. So I've been studying about self-control. So I want to ask y'all real quick. I want to learn from y'all before I give my 2 cents, and I need y'all to help me with my study. And I think that might help somebody else through this. But what's self-control? Let's define something real quick. What does self-control look like?
Denying yourself. Yes.
Controlling yourself, denying yourself from what?
Things that you want, that you desire.
Okay. You said just controlling yourself. That was pretty good. That was good job, Donnie.
What did you say, Holland? Denying yourself.
Denying yourself.
Yeah, just dying to yourself each day.
Okay. Well, so let's kind of mix it up. Let's start at the beginning. What does self-control look like as a juvenile? Like before you're a Christian. What's the self-control or the lack of self-control? What happens when you don't have self-control, or you have self-control as a juvenile, or you're an adolescent, non-Christian? What's self-control look like to you?
Not very good.
An absence probably up there, but not very good. But let's get deeper into it real quick.
Lack of discipline.
Rage, or discipline, or lack of discipline. Okay, fits of rage, kind of
Temper tantrum.
temper tantrums. Those like going like any kids in here now.
Blaming everybody else besides themselves when they do stuff.
Say that again. I love
Blaming
it.
everybody, all their other friends for what they do, not themselves.
So nothing's my fault.
Right.
I like that. That's very deep. Like nothing is.
Lack of accountability.
So it's like everybody else in the world, everybody else is going. It's everybody else's fault, but yeah, absolutely. So y'all are helping me. I'm good with this. Y'all are definitely giving me a lot. So now it's like, all right, I don't have self-control as a juvenile, and before we become a Christian. And I think that we can even do that into the adult years. But what happens when we become a Christian? What does self-control look like? Getting walked on?
Showing grace in the chaos.
Huh?
You should be showing grace in chaos.
Grace and chaos? What about like getting walked on? Are we supposed to have self-control from quick action? Do, like if something happens and we act quick, is that self-control?
And I think too, when, most of the time, not always maybe, but I know most of the time, when you respond, when you should keep your mouth shut, it's a pride thing. It's like, I'm not gonna let that person get that over on me, so it is a pride thing. So you have to get rid of that pride, and you have to learn, and it's hard for me, cause I have a, but you have to,
Really.
you have to keep your mouth shut, because sometimes that tongue gets ahead of you. Because I have said things before without thinking, just react. And I have had to go back and apologize for what I've said, but, you know,
Do we do that as Christians?
what do you do as Christians?
Lose self-control and
Absolutely.
become,
Absolutely.
what makes us Christians though?
I think when you realize what
I
you've
think,
done.
yes.
You go back and apologize
I-
and realize.
I think the difference between, like, it's okay to be, it's not okay to be prideful, but it's okay to have those sinful natures. But what makes us Christians, it's not okay to, but what makes us Christians is noticing,
Conviction.
is the conviction that happens within us. It's like, I probably shouldn't have done that. I apologize. I probably should go back and say something. So I think we're sinful. I think our nature is sinful. But what makes us Christians, what separates us from other people is like, hey, I shouldn't have done that. So what happens between being a juvenile or a juvenile Christian and becoming an adult Christian? What do we have to experience to learn self-control?
Mistakes.
Huh?
Mistakes.
Mistakes. So we have to go through.
But we have to grow and mature, and we have to move away from those childish behaviors and make sure that we are repenting
these things at a baseball game or on Facebook. I think if we get on Facebook, it's easy to type back, or what is it, clap back, or something like that the kids say, or it's easy to get on there and say something. Was that right?
That's right.
Huh?
It is. You'll sit there and text out something that you would never say to someone's face.
And I've actually done, I've got a cousin, she's.
You don't have to say no names. Someone I know is what we say it for.
No.
Someone I know.
She's very liberal, and so it was every day, every day, every day. She'd post something on Facebook. And normally I just let it go through one ear and out the other. I'm just like, okay, that's just so dumb. But anyway, one day I thought, oh my gosh, so
I'm going.
I just started typing, and I got it typed out, and I thought, I deleted every bit of it. I said, no, Heather, keep your mouth shut. And I just started praying for her because she's lost it.
And I want to reiterate that. I think that's what I have to highlight is self-control of a Christian is different than self-control of a worldly person. And sometimes our silence, y'all taught me tonight, speaks. I think the hardest thing to do when you're going through it is to shut up. I think back there with Anita and up here, it's sometimes we gotta shut up. Our mouth can get us in trouble way quicker than anything else.
And that's with anything, gossip, talking about someone, your language,
Action,
your
yeah.
action, your response, your mouth is the worst thing that you have. You can either use it for good or you can use it bad, and all you have to say is one thing, and you have caused a whole lot of chaos.
Well, Tracy, I was thinking about what you said there at the beginning, you let out with, should we let somebody get one over on us? And, I think sometimes yes. I mean, so I was thinking about, you kind of leaned into these verses where Jesus said, if anyone would sue you and take your tunic, let him have your cloak as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. Give to the one who begs from you, and do not refuse the one that will borrow from you. That extra mile stuff is the heart of Christianity. When it's not deserved, it seems weird. It's anti-human behavior to do something like that.
Yes.
But that's Jesus. That's Jesus, right?
Where did you read that at?
Matthew 5.
I've always heard don't do what comes natural, do what comes supernatural.
Yeah.
Sometimes that pride's big.
city in David's time, they named the city after him. It was the city of David. But the thought occurred to me is David could take a city and control it, but he did not exercise that same control over his affections. And it cost him dearly. Cost him children,